There's a moment most men never talk about. You're in a meeting, you share your view, and the room doesn't shift. No resistance, no pushback, but no weight either. Or, at home, you set a direction, and somehow it feels optional. After 40, authority rarely disappears overnight. It erodes quietly, not because you suddenly became incapable, not because you lack experience, but because small standards begin to slip. At this stage of life, authority isn't about dominance. It isn't about volume. It's about presence, clarity, consistency. The Stoics understood this well. Leadership begins with self-governance, and when self-governance weakens, authority weakens with it. Here are 5 subtle signs you may be losing authority after 40, and how to correct them with steadiness. The first sign is over-explaining your decisions. Clear leaders state direction with calm reasoning. They don't flood the room with justification. When you begin talking longer than necessary to defend simple choices, something has shifted. Perhaps you're seeking approval. Perhaps you're anticipating disagreement before it arrives. Perhaps you no longer trust your own judgment fully. In a corporate setting, this looks like presenting a plan and then immediately defending it for 10 minutes without being asked. At home, it looks like turning a simple boundary into a prolonged debate. Stoic leadership values clarity. Epictetus taught that speech should be necessary and measured, not because silence is superior, but because precision signals control. If this sign feels familiar, try something simple. State your decision. Provide concise reasoning. Then allow silence. Authority grows in calm brevity, not in defensive explanation. The second sign is avoiding necessary confrontation. After 40, avoidance becomes expensive. You may tell yourself you're preserving harmony. You may think the issue will resolve itself, but repeated avoidance signals uncertainty. In business, it may mean tolerating subtle underperformance. In family life, it could mean ignoring behavior that needs correction. Seneca warned that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. The conversations we postpone are often less destructive than we fear. Authority erodes when standards are not enforced. If something needs to be addressed, address it calmly, directly, without drama. Leadership requires the willingness to create short-term discomfort for long-term stability. The third sign is that your standards have quietly slipped. Authority is built on visible consistency. If you once prioritized your health but now operate in exhaustion, if you once prepared thoroughly but now rely only on experience, if you once protected family time but now regularly sacrifice it without thought, people notice. You may still speak confidently, but authority is measured by pattern. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself to align action with principle, not because others were watching, but because misalignment weakens the mind. After 40, people don't measure you by intensity. They measure you by reliability. Choose one area where your standard has slipped. Restore it deliberately. Alignment rebuilds presence. The fourth sign is reacting more than responding. Reactivity weakens authority faster than almost anything else. A raised voice, a sharp reply, visible irritation. After 40, Volatility reads as instability, not passion. True authority is quiet. In meetings, the calmest voice often carries the most weight. At home, the composed presence sets the emotional climate. The Stoics were not emotionless. They were disciplined in expression. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself repeatedly not to be carried away by anger, even when justified, because anger clouds judgment. When tension rises, slow your response by a few seconds. Lower your tone slightly. Shorten your sentences. Measured responses signal control, and control commands respect. The fifth sign is drift. You are busy. You are productive, but you are not directional. After 40, people look to you for trajectory. If your goals shift constantly, if your priorities are unclear, if your decisions feel reactive instead of intentional, your authority softens. Seneca compared life to a voyage. If you do not know your destination, every wind feels disruptive. Authority is tied to direction. You don't need dramatic ambition. You need clarity. Write down your next 3 strategic priorities, professionally and personally. Review them monthly. Communicate them clearly to those who rely on you. Direction stabilizes perception. All 5 signs share a common thread: internal misalignment. Over-explaining often stems from insecurity. Avoiding confrontation from fear. Slipping standards from neglect. Reactivity from lack of discipline. Drift from unclear intention. Stoicism returns you to one principle: govern yourself first. Epictetus emphasized focusing only on what is within your control. Marcus Aurelius returned daily to personal responsibility. Seneca urged clarity over impulse. Authority is not imposed. It is recognized. When you govern yourself steadily, others feel it. After 40, leadership is no longer theoretical. It's visible in how you speak, in what you tolerate, in how you prepare, in how you respond, in where you're headed. Authority does not require aggression. It requires consistency. If you recognize one of these signs in yourself, that is not failure. It is awareness. And awareness allows correction. You do not need to become louder. You need to become steadier. Because after 40, the men who command lasting respect are not the most forceful. They are the most composed, and composure practiced daily becomes authority.